So I don't have a lot of time to make these reactions. Again, I watched a bunch of them over like my lunch, my dinner, like free time in the car. I would just listen to them. And some people are really funny. Some people are insightful. Some people are serious. And even if everyone is loving something, I always try to find someone who hated it so you can have a balance. The point of these compilations is I want to capture a snapshot of how people around the world or country or whatever reacted to a certain piece of media. So I try to have a balance. So I look for good, bad, funny, insightful. There's no like written down like formula, but that's what I look for.
3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reactorverse Podcast, brought to you by Passion Fruit. I am joined today by a very special guest, someone I've been very excited to have on for a while now. You might know him from his legendary reaction compilation videos in the space. It is Johnny Odell, aka J2O. Thank you for being here, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Eric. I've have been a big fan for a while. I love your interviews, your style, and just happy to be here.
Of course, yeah, I'm happy to have you here. Like I said, I've been in the space for a little while now, and one of the staples of the space has been your work. As I found, it's been such a unifier. I've talked to you about this with other people I've had on already. Just how the biggest through line I've heard from people coming on here is their sense of community and wanting to build community, wanting to be a part of a community. And I feel like the work that you've done has been a huge part in maintaining that and making it feel like this is a community of people, not just a space of people uploading things individually. The reaction compilations, I think, brings people together in a sense of like, oh, we are sort of like this larger part of a whole of like people sort of sharing this common interest, these passions, and the work that you've done over the years has been incredible.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. So I wanted to pick your brain about that. Also, as a video editor, sort of the internal process about like how you go about those things, because I find them really fascinating, especially how you've grown over the years and with the sort of tricks and skills that you've developed with the reaction compilation. So definitely want to cover all of that as well.
Great. Can't wait.
Yeah. So to begin with that, I guess I would ask, how did you get into video editing to begin with?
Sure. Specifically with like compilations, I was working as the social media manager for The Walking Dead under the Skybound side. Skybound is the comic imprint that distributed the comics basically through Image Comics. And I was tasked with just being their social media manager, and I, had to grow the Walking Dead accounts. And so I've been video editing for a while. In high school, I went on this trip to Australia for a month, and I recorded like a lot of like behind the scenes stuff. And I even did confessionals, like real world style, with my friends who were there. And at the end, I had a whole like sort of documentary ready, and people were really excited for that because, usually you just have like some pictures and videos after a trip. So I had kind of compiled all that into something, and that was probably the origin. I didn't really realize it then. But then when I was at Walking Dead, I needed some content ideas, and my boss Brian actually noticed that a lot of people were making react videos to The Walking Dead, and I think he always says that he's the one who came up with the idea, so I'll give him credit. Sure. That he's like, it'd be cool if you just kind of compiled these together. So I looked at other compilation channels. There's not a lot of them, but a few of them. And their style was just kind of, they put everyone on screen at the same time, which for me is a nightmare. No offense to those people. I mean, some people like that. That's great. But for me, it's too much overload. It's like a migraine watching that. And then there's other people who would just use like, 2 minutes of this reactor and then 2 minutes of this reactor. And I just realized that there was no like flow or rhythm. So I started making them for The Walking Dead. And the first ones are definitely pretty rough. And I think over time, I've evolved the craft. But yeah, that's how it all started, was through The Walking Dead.
Yeah, of course. I knew Brian as well. I worked with him for a couple of years when I was working for the
nice,
Schmodown at Skybound.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's Brian's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, as I've talked to people in this space, obviously I think everyone who is involved in this has editing know-how, because that's how they start. They start when you're editing their own videos, and they get develop the skills from there. But there is a distinct difference between someone who just knows how to edit and someone who is a video editor, so to speak. Do you recall any point early on in your sort of editing experience where you felt like this is sort of like a passion for me, not necessarily just a skill set, something I'm really interested in doing as like an art form?
Well, I don't claim to be like a professional video editor. What I do is very specific and pretty basic at the end of the day. A lot of the reactions I still make on iMovie. I hope I don't get canceled by anyone for saying that. For me, it's just so much easier and snappier. Premiere, I use Premiere on more complicated projects, and I do like Premiere, but iMovie just kind of, it's just the easiest for me. So until AI comes around and makes all that easier, it's just kind of what I use. My fiance is an assistant editor for like big time shows. Like she's worked on American Idol and some documentaries and HBO, Netflix, all these things. So she's actually a professional. I just do this as kind of, it still seems like a hobby to me, even though I spend most of the time of my week doing this.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to pick up tricks all the way around. Especially, I use a lot of YouTube tutorials. A lot of people don't know how to edit. I would suggest doing that. But yeah, I'm still learning. Still a process.
That's good though. I mean, the thing is, I used iMovie, yes, well into my professional career. I eventually moved over to Premiere, but like iMovie was, the staple for me when I was, for a long time. So no judgment here.
Lots of creators use iMovie. I just want to point that out.
Yes, absolutely.
The ones that you think do not use iMovie, use iMovie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any projects, I guess, prior to the Skybound era for you that you may have prepared you for the work, the reaction compilations, or was it something you sort of developed like on the fly as they asked it of you?
Well, like I said, like in high school, I did like a little documentary for my friends, and we did like, I've done short videos in the past, but nothing really. I was kind of making it up on the fly. I didn't really know what I was, with Walking Dead, I wasn't getting paid very much, and I just, they just kind of gave me the reins. I didn't really have a whole lot of oversight. Brian just made sure if I didn't F up in like a huge way, but otherwise I was able to do what I wanted. So I kind of just picked it up as I went, and it's now become a passion of mine.
All right. Were you familiar with the reaction space prior to the Walking Dead and Skybound work, or was it something you discovered for that?
Not in that form. Two of my roommates at the time worked at Fine Brothers Entertainment, FBE. A lot of people remember them for Teens React, Elders React, all of that kind of thing. So I was aware of React content, and those videos would be like Elders React to Eminem, and it would have like 20 million views. I'm like, whoa. And it was then where I definitely realized, it was around that time that I started doing the compilations, that, okay, this React space, there's something here. People enjoy watching others react to something in a big way. So then I just started doing more research into the React community, and it's a wild west. I mean, there is some drama. There's people who like each other. There's people who hate each other. There's people who think someone's a hack. There's people who, idolize others. Right. So like any other profession, it's the whole spectrum.
Yeah. It comes with its own baggage for sure. Yeah,
it does, bro.
Yeah. In those early days of trying to source out who's going to be in the video and sort of how you adopt people coming in, was there any sort of criteria you had for like what you were looking for in videos that you were going to put into the mix?
Well, simply when I first started, it was literally who came up when I YouTubed Walking Dead episode 207 React, and the first like 20 results I would just use, and I can't just be using it forever. In every video I use, between like What If is like about 15 or 16, all the way to like a Deadpool trailer, which is like 50. Right. And I know who everyone is for the most part. Back then I would just kind of use people at random. And then I realized, some people, I would phase some people out. There's one guy who, he had some problematic offline things, so he got out of the videos. There's some people who they literally, like the whole YouTube channel, and in no disrespect, I respect anyone who's brave enough to put themselves in front of a camera, in front of the world, and do something creative. I think that's awesome. There are some reactors, though, that aren't very reactive, ironically, and they will literally, okay, guys, we're going to watch Walking Dead 207 and go. And then the whole episode, they're just watching it like this. And then when the episode ends, they're like, okay, and that was my reaction.
Right.
And
Right.
great, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not shaming anybody, but those people tend to not be included unless they had great picture in picture, because AMC
Yeah.
is, in most places, most studios are very not litigious, but they're very strict about how much footage you can show. But
Right.
picture in picture usually seems to be okay. So if someone like is maybe not a very interesting reactor, but they have great picture in picture, I might use them just to help fill in some gaps.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and over time, you just realize who's good. Like I try to balance it with a good amount of insight. So like the previewed guys, they're funny and insightful. PW Hustle, my boy, he is very like loud and audacious and very boisterous, and he has very like you get him for like the big reactions. He's usually a bumper, And then there's just some people. I recently, maybe we'll get into it. I did some rap reactions to the Drake and Kendrick beef, and that was fun because I didn't know any of those reactors. I hadn't heard of any of them, and I definitely also balance the insightful people with the oh my god falling out of their chair people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's you just kind of have to pick and choose.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. It's in itself a transformative piece. I was talking to my girlfriend about this before. When you're an editor and you're editing down things from a larger source, you are kind of like trying to package it for a specific audience, for who's watching it, and how that flows. Within these sort of specific elements that you're pulling from. So yeah, I can see how when you're picking people, like being able to have the interstitial moments of people who aren't as reactive be the sort of glue that hold other pieces together could be helpful in that sense.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah. And then once you started, getting traction with that, now I guess you might touch upon it a little bit, but today, say in the sense of like, putting new videos together for video or for maybe music, is there any criteria you look for now that you know the space a little more, now you know like the people a little more?
Yeah, I mean, you want someone who is interesting. There's some things that are red flags for me. You might be a good reactor, but if you do like a full reaction that's like 50 minutes long, I'll usually avoid those because I only have so much time. I've said it before, but I do have like a 9 to 5. And by 9 to 5, I mean a 10 to 7 job where I work for this mobile gaming company because I need, insurance is nice. And I was demonetized for a while on YouTube.
Right.
I just recently got remonetized, but I'm scared to death that YouTube made a mistake and they'll demonetize me any minute. So I got to keep my regular job. So I don't have a lot of time to make these reactions. When the rap beef came up, I was like, I feel like there's something here. So I watched a bunch of reactors and they have their own sets of drama and stuff, and they just react to music or they just react to hip hop and stuff. So I watched a bunch of them over like my lunch, my dinner, like free time in the car. I would just listen to them and kind of hear like who would be like the best for it. And some people are really funny. Some people are insightful. Some people are serious. Some people, and even if everyone is loving something, I always try to find someone who hated it so you can have a balance. Because I think it's kind of lame if it's like, here's this thing, everyone loves it. It's nice to have one or two haters to kind of, not haters, just someone who's like, well, I don't really care for that. Yeah. Because the point of these compilations is I want to capture a snapshot of how people around the world or country or whatever reacted to a certain piece of media. So I try to have a balance. So I look for good, bad, funny, insightful. There's no like written down like formula, right, but that's what I look for.
Yeah, it's kind of feeling it out, how they're complementing each other. And you mentioned, the idea of like having a certain, package of people at first, and then like learning if someone did something, unscrupulous off camera that you have to consider and things like that. Moving down the line, as you know more about the space, it's difficult to stay on top of everyone's ongoing stuff and to be aware of like who's doing what, who's saying what. And you said like you have like a 9 to 5 job that takes up a lot of that time.
So much.
Is there any way you stay informed about how you sort of go about the space, knowing about who's doing what without putting that responsibility upon your shoulders to stay informed 24/7?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. There's definitely things I miss, but I'm subscribed to all the reactors and I have notifications on for certain ones who I know cover a lot. And so I kind of use that to see, even if I don't cover it, it's good to know, oh, anime is becoming pretty big in this community. Maybe I should look at that. Or Korean dramas. Like everyone was begging me to do Squid Game, and I was like, oh, it's a long series, but I mean, not a long series. It's one season, but they're long episodes, and doing the translation would be a nightmare. And I had to download subtitles, but it ended up being one of the biggest series I did. So I try to just keep my ear to the ground, but it's hard because there's so many shows that come out. Everyone wants me to do Shogun and Fallout, and I just don't have time. I'm still working on What If, which came out the first week of January, and I want to be done with this show. I do, but I can't. I'm a completionist. I got to finish it. And we have The Boys releasing 3 episodes at once. I know you didn't ask me to vent, but I'm gonna vent for 2 seconds. The Boys is releasing 3 episodes at once this week on Thursday, which is a nightmare for me because I can do about 1 episode a week, especially one of those like hour-long shows. But 3, like by the time I release episode 2, episode 5 will be out, or 4, and it's like it's really tough. So anytime they do a binge show, like unless it's Stranger Things, if they just release it all at once, like they did with Fallout, I don't even bother looking at it. I'm sure it's a great show. I've never seen it. I still haven't seen Echo. I only have so much time. I have a fiance, I have a dog. Like I gotta, prioritize my time. I can't spend 100% of it working on this. And people get angry and impatient about where's this? Oh, this other compilation channel did X-Men. They're lapping you while you were doing rap. Well, the hip hop thing netted me 15,000 new subscribers that I would have never had, and 2 of the videos surpassed 1 million views. I mean, the last What If video I uploaded, and I get it, 6 months late, is only got like 13,000 views. So what do you think I'm going to focus on?
Right.
So at the end of the day, it is kind of a business, but it is tough. I'd like to eventually grow and get like editors to help me, but right now it's literally just me.
Yeah. And I respect that. I respect how much work you are putting. I know what goes into that. Yeah, it's a lot. And I kind of want to ask, again, from an editor standpoint, this might be a little bit inside baseball. Could you break down the sort of distinct process you have, like putting the videos together into your library, and like how you piece together the videos itself? Like, do you watch each video one by one? Do you sync them up chronologically? How do you go about piecing them together for the reaction compilation?
Yeah. Well, I download the people that I want to use. I download the episode, and then I go from there. I never watch the videos ahead of time. I'm editing as I go. So I'll download a previewed video, and I am looking, I go through it. What really helps me is I look through the audio, so I can see when no one's talking, or if it's clearly just show footage. Unless I want to use that show footage, I'll see the peak, and I'm like, okay, one of the preview guys said something, Adam or Jay said something, so I'll just skip to that. And so I focus mostly on dialogue first of what they're saying, and then I realize I can't use too much show video, so then I'll go back and I'll grab a clip from like Previewed or PW Hustle. I'll expand it, and I'll look for the show clips that I want to use. So them literally just watching silently, and that's fine as long as the picture-in-picture is good. I won't use bad picture-in-picture. I try not to. And so there's got to be a better way to do it. For me, I edit a lot. I'll edit like 5 or 10 of them, and they'll just exist at the end of the timeline, past the outro. And then I just start putting them in, and then I start putting them in. And then I look for themes. Like I look for, I like completing other people's sentences, it's not just like if someone's like, oh, and then another one's like, my God, like sometimes it flows well like that. Sometimes someone is like, God, who is that actor again? And then I use another reactor who's like, that's Tony Danza, or I don't know why I said Tony Danza, but and everyone's like, and then I'll cut to a third reactor, God willing, they're like, Tony Danza, that's who it is. And then people feel like they're all in the same room together. Because one of my favorite things, I'm that annoying friend that I don't talk through a whole movie, especially not in a theater, but if I'm at home with like a bunch of friends, it's kind of like a riff off, like who can say the funniest thing quickest, and you don't want to overdo it. There's an art to it. And that's what these reactors are. They're the funny ones in the room who say something funny or interesting while something's going on. And the more that I can have them feed off each other, even though they're not in the same room, the better. So the more, and I'm really proud of that kind of work.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's something I've noticed, develop over the years with your work is like, yes, that sort of connectivity between the edits and like seeing them complement each other, finish each other's sentences. I really appreciate that stuff. Obviously, that's you inserting, yes, some sort of, art form to it and like having fun with it. So I really appreciate you kind of like growing in that sense as well. And then from there, having the process done when you're editing it and having it pieced together, when you cap it off and like do you do a final pass on it to sort of double check what's if there's something you can insert, if there's I know you've done re-edits, retouch-ups of like inserting more people into that.
Yep.
Is that difficult to put in with the flow of things and how it sort of was put together the first time?
No, yeah, I definitely do a few more passes once everyone's in and it's done. And there's sometimes where I am just like so behind and I just need to get it out. I always do at least one final pass, but sometimes if it's just one, I'll upload it. And then this weird thing I do is sometimes I'll listen to the video after the fact once it's uploaded, like in my car on my way to work. I have a long commute, and I try to hear if like the audio synced well and if it sounds good just as audio, like if it made sense. And then I'll when I hear like a mistake or something, or this guy was way too loud, or they got cut off, or I accidentally repeated a clip and I didn't catch it in the first pass, drives me crazy. But I always do as much quality check as I can. But usually when I'm done with the video, I'm done. Like when one of the reactors, if they just react to like the Deadpool trailer, they literally turn on their camera, they watch it, they're like, oh my God, that looks great. Done, upload, and they're done. And it's done in like an hour, which is awesome. But for me, I'm going through over 25 hours of footage, and it takes me about a week to do it. And given that I have a life and another job, and so it does take a while. And so when I'm done with the video, I'm like done. And I probably could give it 3 to 4 to 5 more passes, but once I'm satisfied with it, it's good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah.
It's tough.
I understand. Like, putting so much into that. Yeah, and when you're done, it's so. It's just like it takes a lot out of you, so you want to be done with it. Yeah. And yeah, to get into the rap battle stuff the few that you were recently covered. What was that whole process like? Like you said, diving into a whole new realm of people and like the media and how that sort of whole culture stands on its own.
Yeah, it was. Well, I'm a big hip hop fan, and I saw all my friends, like all my group chats, were like buzzing about this. Everyone was going crazy about the rap beef, Kendrick and Drake. I mean, these are two super, like they're just like on their A game, two of the best rappers alive. And it just felt like it was getting bigger. At first it was like little disses, then it was a bigger diss. And then so I was like, and I saw it and I was like, I'm guessing people are reacting to this, right? Like they do TV shows. So I like Googled it or I YouTubed it. And then I saw like dozens of reactions. I was like, well, let me do this J. Cole one. Everyone's talking about the J. Cole one. And it only got like 10,000 views. And I was like, all right, well, it was fun to make. I mean, I liked meeting all these new reactors and talking to them on the side too. And then I was like, okay, well, I did another one. It was like 12,000 views. And I was like, and then so I made a community note telling everybody, hey guys, I'm going to pause content and I'm going to focus on this because I feel like there's something here. And then this next one, Euphoria, ended up, I think it's at like 1.5 million views. So anyway, going through that, the process was watching all those reactions, seeing who fit, seeing who didn't fit. I downloaded everyone's things. There's some reactors that I wanted to use and didn't. Some I didn't think I would, and I did. And I think each video got better as I went along. So that was a fascinating process. But I'm glad I did it. And now I just did an Eminem one. Like I'd like to continue doing music stuff because I think people want to see more from me.
Yeah. Do you feel the music edits are easier in any way compared to the movie TV show edits?
It's tough. Well, they are easier because a 6-minute song is a lot different than a 49-minute Boys episode. So, but there's a lot more, there's so much more nuance. Like especially when Kendrick, like every line there's like 3 hidden meanings. So I need people to break that down. I need people to realize that. And then, I mean, I'm learning as I'm going. I didn't catch any of this stuff and they got it. So, it's really fascinating, but it is hard also copyright wise. Like the
Right.
two of the 1.5 million video ones, they got demonetized. Now Kendrick or someone, no one knows the full story, but Kendrick told his label, we think, to back off the Reactor copyright stuff. Let them eat for like 2 or 3 weeks. And we thought it was going to be forever, but if you use more than 5 seconds of a song in a video, they'll claim it. Even if you're like at a carnival and they can hear like 5 seconds of a Rihanna song playing in the background, they will claim your video. Not claim it. They will, like, you don't get a strike on your channel. It's just you can't monetize it.
Right.
So that's tough to get around. So I had to pull some more analysis hip hop reactors to help fill up the gaps. And I know it's kind of annoying to watch. You just want to listen to someone like nodding their head to a song. It sucks to have someone like cut in every 3 seconds. So what Kendrick means is, like when I listen to it in my car, I'm like, it is kind of annoying, but I have to do it to get around copyright. So in that way, it's a little bit more complicated, but I can get these out a lot faster, which is nice.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed too with the music reactions is like the stopping and going. I think that's for the copyright reasons and to have the analysis inserted in. So like, did that inform your approach to it, knowing that or learning how that process usually is for a lot of music reactors, is the stopping and pausing and explaining?
I don't know how they do it. I mean, it's so hard. I don't know how they make any money. It's so difficult. And Drake followed suit 2 days later. He also didn't, copyright claim any of the stuff, but apparently it was on a fixed schedule. And after 3 weeks, we all got, like me and a bunch of other reactors, they all got like emails, scary emails saying you can no longer monetize this video. And I was like, okay, well, at least these videos have peaked. I don't think they'll get any more views. And each video has gotten like 500,000 more views. So that's a lot more money that you could have made from it, which is a bummer.
Right.
But I am happy that we were given that. But it's tough. I wish I could just edit it where it's just everyone like bobbing their head, and I probably could do a version of that. But I think some people do like it because I don't see a lot of people complain. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't realize that's what the song was about. So I like to inform people as well.
Of course. Yeah. And do you think you might have mentioned you want to stick with music for some stuff, or do you think you'll pivot back to the movies and TV shows fully, or you want to have a mix of that?
It's going to be a mix for sure. The Eminem video is doing pretty well right now. I just released it a few days ago and it's like already at 60 or 70,000 views. So obviously there's something there. People like that. And from what I've seen, there are compilation channels that do that, and they definitely do there's no commentary. It's just straight through, and they're not getting monetized. It's not just about getting monetized. You want to make a quality video that people will enjoy,
Right.
It's not just for you.
Of course.
You do have to be mindful of it. So I think it's just something I'm gonna stick with. I'll still do TV and movies, but music, it's such a big untapped thing. It's such a big genre on YouTube. So I think I'd be silly not to evolve and add it to my quiver.
Yeah. But staying up to date with the movie and TV space as you've done over the years, do you have any approach of how you sort of see things coming down for new shows, I guess specifically new movies coming down the line that might be big? Do you we have the known things like The Boys, House of the Dragon, all the sort of known quantities. Do you have any criteria for when you see a new hit show coming down the line of how you want to approach that? If you might consider it, if you might think it's like, are there any red flags you look out for like, I might not want to cover this, so on?
Yeah, I mean, I look at everything. There's a lot of, like I said earlier, there's a lot of shows I do want to cover. The Boys is obvious. Right now I'm in a situation where The Boys is going to release 3 episodes this week, like I mentioned. House of the Dragon comes out in a couple weeks. And then The Acolyte, so that's a new show that just premiered. And first of all, for me to cover a show, I have to like the show. There are shows that I'm not a fan of that I'm sure if I covered, people would enjoy. And I know that's selfish, but I am essentially rewatching these episodes like hundreds of times while editing, and I really have to enjoy the show. So the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte for me, and people are disliking the show for really like stupid, terrible caveman reasons where they like call it woke and it's this and that. I don't care about any of that. I think the more diverse, the better. But quality wise, it wasn't really my cup of tea. Hopefully it gets better. So honestly, I was actually kind of relieved because I didn't have time for that. Like I'm working on Andor still, which came out like 3 years ago on my Patreon, and that's a slog. And The Boys is something I definitely have to cover. House of the Dragon, I will try to do it at the same time. Meanwhile, I have 2 what if episodes. And so it really depends, to answer your question, sorry, depends on my schedule. It depends on how well those videos are doing. So I'll look at all the reactors who are covering this specific new show and see how many views they're getting. And if it's not very much, then it's maybe not worth my time. On a business side, you want to think it's all creative, and I wish I could cover every show, because every audience deserves to have this kind of content where you can just see how everyone's reacting to something all at once. But sometimes it's just based on what time I have. So if it's a show that I really like I'd love to cover The Bear. I'm thinking about it. I love The Bear. Great show. There's some great reactors reacting to it. So that might be something I do, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's also very short, so that's also nice.
Love that. Love that.
Show.
These hour-long shows kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, buckle up for that. Yeah, for the boys, House of the Dragon. It's gonna be a big one. And so being involved in the space and like sort of being like sort of like focal point, I think people look to. I talked to a few channels spoke about how getting involved into the reaction compilation for your work felt like almost like a rite of passage. Like they said, it's like it felt like they had sort of made it in some sense, being able to be involved with those people, and you sort of bring them together in that sense. Yeah. You've done interviews, for your Patreon with some of your favorite reactors. Are there any people that you say you see as like sort of voices in the space that you think are important, or like sort of bringing people together in that sense, the same way you do?
Interesting. Let's see. I think your boy Roshi, they have an amazing channel. Roshi's great. I don't really know him personally, but I know he has a lot of other reactors that he talks to and features in videos. And that space, I think, is really well covered. Kyle Katarn is a really good. I use him for all my Star Wars reacts. He seems to have like a really good rapport with all the Star Wars reactors. They all probably I think they see each other at conventions. Let's see. The Previewed guys, they had a live event during New York Comic Con last year where a lot of their fans got to come and do like a meet and greet. And I think that's really cool. I love seeing reactors and influencers who aren't like the Mr. Beasts of the world, carve out their own sort of place in all of this and bring other people together. I mean, just reaction space in general. A lot of times people just watch TV shows alone in their living room or with someone else and they enjoy it. But I think like that feeling where you're in Endgame and, Steve gets Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and everyone cheers, or like in Spider-Man where, you see Tobey Maguire come out of the portal and you get that giant theater reaction. And those videos go viral because people remember that feeling of being that excited for something together. And that togetherness is something that people crave and they love, being like, yeah, I thought the same thing. And so, I think reactors understand that, and anyone who can kind of capture that, I think that's a good thing. The more community we have on YouTube, the better. We all go through similar experiences, similar burnout and stuff. So yeah. I don't know if that answered your question, but I'm just kind of rambling. I never really get to talk about any of this, so I apologize. That these answers.
Please, I appreciate that. I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
The togetherness is like a big part of like why I also love the space, and like that idea of like sharing your passion and those like sort of raw emotions in those moments, and like capturing that for prosperity. I think really ultimately what the space does for people is it makes it feel like not alone. Like that's what a lot of people have said in their interviews, and like that makes it feel like these thoughts or these feelings I have aren't in isolation. Like I can look out there and know that there are people like that. Especially Alex Winter, who played Bill from Bill and Ted. He did a really great documentary recently called The YouTube Effect, who talked about how YouTube has sort of fallen to be weaponized for the wrong reasons, for the wrong agendas. And that's why I really love the reaction space, because it sort of harkens back to that sort of core value of what YouTube was made for, which was to connect people, which is people to find, kinship among one another. And that's why I really love it. So I guess over the years, how have you seen the space evolve in certain ways? I guess, for better, for worse, but like also just in ways that that pique your interest, and, the way changes have impacted your work for it, but also your passion for it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I have nephews and nieces who like, and I've heard of nephews and nieces or people's kids who, when you are little, you like play pretend as a firefighter or a doctor, and a lot of them are doing influencer, which is interesting. You get 6 and 7 year olds who are playing, they're talking to an imaginary phone, and they're pretending to record videos, and so it's something that's definitely here to stay. So I've seen it evolve in a lot of ways from YouTube to TikTok to just it becomes part of people's vernacular. I think people who write it off just don't understand it. And people are a lot funnier, I think, than they used to be. I mean, like I look at like old Vine compilations. I'm like, oh, TikTok's so much more funny than this. So the generations, I think, are becoming funnier. They're becoming savvier. Everyone knows how to use a camera, a mic. Everyone knows how to create short form content now. It is kind of wild because like I do extremely long form content on my page, not like Jenny Nicholson long, but still pretty long. And it's wild because there's a big audience that does not like that, and they couldn't stick around for a whole minute on a TikTok video, and I'm like that sometimes too. I'm like 1 minute, scroll. Meanwhile, I'm like churning out like at least on the Patreon side, it'll be like 30-minute cuts of something. So people's attention span changes. The space has changed. It has become more short form, but there is still a big audience for long form. You can watch a 1 minute recap of people reacting to Kendrick's latest diss, or you could watch like a 15-minute like full breakdown on someone else's channel. You could watch a compilation of all that on my channel. There's just different versions of everything, but I think the space is in a pretty good place. I mean, it's getting, evolved by the user, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And yeah, in the space and the evolution as it is now, the pandemic had a huge hit
Massive.
that on a hit, but massive impact on like how that space sort of exploded over the last few years.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any sort of distinct changes in the way people have approached the space since then, over the last year, since everyone a lot of people started channels, a lot of people developed different parts of their channels. What kind of changes have you noticed since then?
Like I said, I think it's become a lot more short form, and I'm actually considering like making more of my videos into like short form, like clips, and because that's just where the space is going right now. It is kind of worrisome for like when I see comments like, I don't know if they're from Gen Z, they say they are, saying, "Oh, this is like a 15-minute video or something like that." Who has the time? But arguably everyone.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for like new content to watch. So I don't know. Things are becoming more short form. Things are becoming just increasingly more creative. I think as AI, Apple just had an event where they showed all the new AI ways you can like change things, change your content. So people are becoming a lot better at editing, and I think it's just making people a lot more skilled. I feel bad for anyone I went to school for communications, and they told us as freshmen, they're like, by the time you graduate, everything you will have learned will be obsolete. And you're like, then why am I paying however much a year to do this? So, but this generation is super resilient. I think millennials and Gen Z are very savvy with all of this, and Gen Alpha, the generation coming after them, they'll be even savvier. So I think in that way it's good, and we're getting a lot more creative people in the space. I hope it's not too many creative people where it's like we're not going to have any more doctors or dentists, in 20 years.
Right.
But no, I don't think that'll actually happen. It just seems like that because that's the people who you see online. You're like, wow, there's like a billion influencers, but I think it's fine.
I agree. Yeah, it's a great outlook on the whole thing.
I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I don't know.
Yeah, hope for the best.
Yeah,
that's all we can do.
Yeah.
And to start wrapping things up here, I guess some of the questions I ask the other people, which could be applicable to you, what has been the most consistent obstacle you faced in your time with the channel? But also, what obstacles have you seen people face with the channels that you worked for or worked with?
The hardest part, and a lot of influencers will tell you this, is the like burnout of it never being enough. And I've struggled with that just like in my personal life, because you'll finish a video that you worked really hard for like a week on, and like I'll be like, oh, I finally got this what if out. And then you're like, okay, I still have 2 what ifs, 6 Andors, 3 boys, 2 acolytes, and then I'm probably not even gonna do the acolyte. But a lot of that, it never ends. And that's good because you always
Right.
have content, but it's bad because you never feel done. And when I finish a video, I'll try to like take a day off after that. But truthfully, I'm always kind of preparing, editing. Sometimes I'll play like Madden while I'm editing and I'll give myself rewards as motivation. Like, okay, if you get a touch or like once you, after this quarter, then you can edit some more. Or if you edit the next 5 reactors in, then you can play 2 more quarters of Madden. Like I have to parent myself because sometimes it just like, I'm so exhausted. Like for my 9 to 5, or it's not a 9 to 5. Like when I'm in office, which is 3 days a week, I leave here at like 8:45 in the morning and I get back at 8 at night. And
Yeah.
by then now I have to make dinner and I'm catching up with my fiance, petting my dog. We'll watch an episode or a few episodes of something. And then then it's like 9:30 or 10. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to edit now. And so the burnout's real. And it would be nice to actually, I don't remember the last weekend I had where I wasn't doing something for the channel. And so I think burnout's the biggest part and just time. I wish I had one of those clock stopper watches where it just pauses time and you could just edit. But
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
then, that sounds pretty exhausting because then it's like, what's the excuse? You got the watch, bro. Where's Fallout? You can literally pause time. So I don't know. There's just no winning.
Burnout.
But
It's a big
I do
thing,
my best.
for sure.
So burnout's definitely the hardest part.
Absolutely. And how do you feel you've personally grown over the years with the channel? How do you think you've seen other channels have grown over the years as well?
Yeah. So how I started with The Walking Dead, and then I got laid off from The Walking Dead during COVID for various reasons. But don't worry, nothing terrible or anything. But that forced me to like just kind of take the concept and apply it to other shows and just see if that would stick. I didn't have a job. I wasn't making money. I didn't have insurance. And so I started from scratch while applying to like 20 jobs on LinkedIn a day. And the WandaVision episodes were getting like hundreds of thousands of views on this channel I just started. And that was wild. So I've grown. It's been hard. I've gotten demonetized twice. I made a second channel that got demonetized, and that was hard. I was making the most money I've ever made, and I've not really made much money. We're not talking like millions or, hundreds of thousands or anything like that. Like pretty middle class, but more than I had been making at my other job. And so that was really exciting. Then I got demonetized, and then I had to apply for other jobs. And you're just forced to evolve and change your content. I was doing like on camera stuff. I did a few reactions myself, which I hate looking at. I'm not good at it. It is an art. People who say, oh, anyone can turn on a camera and react to something. No, you can't. It is hard. And I am a gregarious person and I love having big opinions, but it's hard for me to like watch like a boys trailer and be like, wow, no way. Oh my God. Like I can't do it. I'm usually like, that looked good. It's hard. So, music is one way I've evolved. I want to do more on camera stuff. I don't want to just be known as like a compilation guy. It's what I've fallen into because those are the videos that worked. But I'd love to get into like more movie reviews and just like silly stuff, vlogs. I don't know if anyone cares, but I started doing those like monthly recaps of like what happened in pop culture and politics.
Right.
And they get like 4,000 views. And I was like, I worked all month on this. And, but each one gets slightly more views. So maybe by the time I do the 2024 in review, people will watch that. I don't know. But that's been nice because I do all that on Premiere, and that's taught me a lot of new Premiere tricks. So, I'm hoping to keep evolving, but you have to evolve, especially in this space, especially with copyright. And, YouTube can change their laws or their bylaws in a second. So my channel used to be eligible for monetization. Now it's not. Like, I couldn't even get a silver plaque because I was demonetized at the time. And I'm afraid to ask now because I'm afraid like they'll look at my channel and be like, oh, he has 100,000 subscribers. Wait a minute. Why do we remonetize him? And then I am effed. So, you do what you can. But like, I'll show you in the meantime, since I didn't get the silver plaque, which is something I'd really hoped for, my fiance had this made on Etsy. This like custom made silver plaque, which that's awesome. Treasure so much. And I think is even cooler than the one YouTube could send. So, you evolve, you do your best. you find jobs in between, and it's like how what people with kids say, it's like you just make it work. So I just try to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's fantastic. Yeah, that the plaque is amazing.
Yeah, right.
Honestly,
I was
great on
like
her.
brought to
Yeah.
tears. It was so sweet. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I totally understand, like, yes, like the highs and lows of like all that, because it's difficult. It's difficult to sort of
it is tough.
put yourself through that, and then like, yeah, feel like you've worked really hard, and then like have that sort of like, pop up like short of what you were hoping for or hoping expecting. Especially that goes a lot into the sort of creative passionate work of editing specifically, because a lot goes into it. And beyond any sort of monetary or financial value, what is the most rewarding aspect of the channel and the space for you?
For sure. I would say the most rewarding part is just seeing people's comments where they're like, "Oh, I was having a bad day and this like helped me get through it," or "I rewatch your videos all the time and it's like I memorized them by this point," and it just makes me happy because I have YouTube videos and channels that I go to when I'm like bummed out or not in a good mood or whatever. And, there'll be SNL clips. The pitch meeting channel that Ryan George has, really anything Ryan George does is phenomenal. He's definitely my go-to for like pick-me-ups. And the fact that my channel, which by the way wouldn't be possible without any of the reactors, like I wouldn't have a channel without them, and I owe all my success, if you can call it success, to them. So but seeing people, like the fact that my channel is what like Ryan George's channel is to me, is really cool. So I think that's like that makes me really happy. Again, I don't want to be like famous or have like, zillions of dollars would be nice, but I'm not like aiming for that. Like I just want to make quality content that will sustain me, so I don't have to have a 9 to 5 the rest of my life, because I don't thrive well in 9 to 5s. I'm good with me being my own boss. So anything that helps sustain that and makes people happy is pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say, a small button on that. I will say, when I watched The Last of Us with my parents and they liked it, it was a great show. And then after that, I watched your reaction compilations with my mom, and she really loved them.
Wow.
And I did that to help her explain what reactions are and why I work in the space and how my job sort of influences all that. And she really loved it, and like she wanted to watch more, so we watched the whole series of your videos like that. And so when Stranger Things is going to come out, we're going to go through and watch your Stranger Things compilations to catch her up.
Thanks.
On some of that. Yeah.
Those took so long.
Yeah.
The last episode's 2 hours or something? Like,
oh my God. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it's like a feature film.
That's so amazing that you said that, man. That the fact you can share that with your mom. I hope she's not too offended, because it can be pretty vulgar.
No,
I've shown my. It's weird
she loves
too.
them, yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. I've shown other people, or I have a fiance and she has a family who's probably curious about what I do, and I'm sure they've clicked on videos privately, been like, "Let's see what this Johnny guy is all about." And it's like, "What the fuck? Joel would never do that, motherfucker." And you're just like, and they're probably like, "Oh my God, what is this? Who is joining our family?" Listen, I didn't say any of it. But yeah, okay. Well, that's good. That's really cool to hear, man. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very special to be able to share those
Shout
with
out
her.
to your mom.
And she enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. As again, we have our final questionnaire here, which I give to everyone, but I'll give it to you as well. I think we can still enjoy your answers for that. First question is, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
That's a good one. The Office.
Nice. One of mine. Second question is, what is your favorite film of all time?
Tough one. Favorite film. It's gonna sound corny, but I think Sound of Music is actually just front to back a great film. It's really good.
Of course, it's a classic.
But I'm also a big fan of Apatow comedies. So 40-Year-Old Virgin, Super Bad, Knocked Up, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Those are all that talk about a go-to when you're feeling bummed. That's what I go to.
Right. What stresses you out?
What stresses me out? I'm very impatient. I'm probably like undiagnosed ADHD, as are most influencers. What stresses me out is when something goes wrong, or when things, when someone drops a really popular show that everyone loves in one night, that stresses me out. When I get demonetized, that stresses me out. I went to see Fall Guy the other day, and I spent all week on this Kendrick and Drake video. And then right as we're going to the theater, I got like a notification because YouTube had been like, yeah, the checks are great. As in like they check your work, not like money checks. And then they're like, oh, sorry, Universal claimed it. They're going to make money from it. And there's nothing I could have done. I was just walking into the theater. And I ended up not liking that movie, I think, because I was in such a bad mood. But so when things are like out of my control that happen, that kind of drives me nuts, especially when I work really hard on something. Sorry, this is a really long answer. I'll just shorten it to that. So
It's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I totally get that. Yeah, the remote notification. Yeah, it's the worst. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What helps you relax?
Hanging out with my fiance and our dog and playing with them outside. Going outside is great. I recommend it to all influencers. Go outside, take a walk, touch grass, as people would say.
What is a hobby or passion you have outside of TV or film?
Gosh, I don't know. I wish I could be like, oh, I'm really great woodworker, or I make shoes. I don't really have one. I play video games with my friends. Like my whole time is like taken. Like my fiance wants to go to a bunch of national parks, which sounds like a great hobby to have. We haven't started that, but that would be a good hobby. That would be a good answer.
Yeah.
We like trying new coffee shops. Is that a hobby? I don't know, man. I don't have time for hobbies. I am really into sports, so I keep up with everything like football and basketball, and I play games with my friends, and I love my dog. So
yeah, I say that definitely counts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What fictional character do you think you relate to or just care deeply about?
That's a good one. Probably Chandler from Friends. He is. I watch a lot of Friends with my fiance Marie, and Chandler is exactly me. I'm funny when I'm uncomfortable, so that's exactly what I try to be. And sometimes I'm a Ross, which is unfortunate, but mostly Chandler. So I would say him.
It's good mixture.
Yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure, show or film?
I love musicals. I love musicals. When I was during COVID, we watched to like cope with all the horrors of the world. We watched 90 Day Fiance, which was super fun. I've kind of left that behind since COVID, but that was a good watch. But yeah, I'm a sucker for musicals. I don't know.
Yeah, you just won the heart of my girlfriend, who is a big musical fan, and 90 Day Fiance was the show that she and my mother bonded over when they first met. So,
oh wow, that's incredible. Yeah.
So that's a good icebreaker for them.
Nice.
What show or film gave you your favorite reaction experience, or I guess edit that you did, like any episode or any movie that you did that really stood out?
When what's his face? Evan Quicksilver, when he showed up in WandaVision, that was huge. Just reaction wise. Are you talking about like what their biggest reaction was or mine?
Well, your favorite experience, like putting that together, like you see the reaction, you think, I can't wait to put this together and really, sort of put my spin on this.
Yeah, Quicksilver, that was a big one in WandaVision. Let's see. I was excited for anything Grogu related in The Mandalorian. I was excited to cover that one good episode of Boba Fett when it was just The Mandalorian for an episode. When Ahsoka shows up, I'm trying to think. Anything with Invincible, especially the end of the first episode, the pilot episode, where all the spoiler alert, Justice League gets brutally slaughtered. I could not wait to do that. In this most recent season, I was excited for people's reactions to Omni-Man leaving his wife for a bug lady, and then also having a kid with her. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that stand out.
Yeah, I say that one of the best ones is probably the running up that hill.
Oh my
Max
God! Yes,
Things.
that is the best one. Thank you. How did I miss that? That is literally the best one. And go watch the extended cut because that one goes even longer. But that took a while. I think I got claimed on that one too because I used too much of that song. But I don't care. You had to. I didn't need anyone butting in being like, well, actually, they're saying running up this hill because the kids are running up a hill, but also, no. I was like, I just need this to happen. I need to see people crying. I need to hear the song. I need the overture. Like, that was a good one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember as soon as I finished that episode and like processed it, shortly after, I remember the first thing I thought was, I can't wait to see like the compilation to this and
Yes.
see
And 8
everyone's
months
reaction
later, you
together
got
to
it.
Yeah. Yeah. We got there though.
Yeah, we did.
What would be personally for you, what would be your dream show or movie to do a reaction compilation for, if you could have people like join together and do it like just for you? It's like, this is your pick.
That's tough. I do watch a lot of genre shows, so it like I think most of those are pretty covered. My favorite show growing up was Boy Meets World, and it'd be cool to see like I'd love to see like Gen Z or someone who hadn't seen it like react to it. I don't know if it would still be funny. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd go with like Boy Meets World. Anything where like what worked really well with FBE, like I mentioned earlier, was that you would have opposites react to opposites. So elders react to Eminem. So having like a Gen Z, like I like those videos. There's this one series where it's these brothers. I don't know if you've seen it, where they react to like hearing Back in Black for the first time. And you're like, okay, I believe that they've never heard that. And then they like started getting popular, and it's like, we react to Thriller for the first time. I was like, there's no way you have not heard Thriller. Like, there's no way you've been to like a golf cart, like, or not golf cart, like a bumper car place, like an arcade, a bar. You haven't been to like, a baseball game.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, some people, I wonder, I was like, are they hamming up? That's another thing. There's some reactors who I can pretty much tell that they've seen the episode ahead of time, and I won't use them.
Yeah, gotta keep an eye out for that. Unfortunately, sometimes it can happen.
Yeah, they'll be like, wouldn't it be crazy if Doctor Strange came out of nowhere? And then Doctor Strange comes out of nowhere, and I was like, bruh, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely an eye we can develop for stuff like that.
A third
over time.
eye.
Yeah. And the final question here is, what advice would you give to your past self when you first started the channel, or just, I guess, when you first started working in the space in general?
I would tell myself to prioritize my life pretty equally with this. A lot of times it's like, it feels like it's like 80% editing, 20% living. So it's hard because I'm just always behind, and I'm always getting comments of, where's this, where's that, what's this, and I'm like, I am one guy. And I would say the core like fans of the channel, I think, are pretty understanding, and they're pretty patient, which I really appreciate. But still, even if you are behind, even if you're going to miss the deadline and then the next episode's already out, it's okay. And I think I still need to learn this lesson, is you need to focus on what really matters, which is the people in life who you love, and just mental health wise, having time for yourself, and not just always being on. So even if I caught up with every show I'm behind on right now, there would still be all these other shows. Well, why don't you do anime? Why don't you do this? And sometimes, so it would be prioritize your life, and then also just be willing to let go. I'm never going to end up covering this show, and that's okay. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely. Fantastic advice, I think, not just for you and your work, but I think everyone is to.
Yeah. I mean, we're now seeing
life.
YouTubers retire, which seems crazy. YouTube is so young, but it's not. Some people have been doing it for 20 years, Someday I do want that, like, that moment with Thanos where he, sits on his porch and he's like, that sounds nice.
Exactly. That's what we all strive for.
Yeah.
Johnny, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you being here, man. Yeah,
thanks,
absolutely. Again, it's been an honor. It's been an honor just to watch your work and to like sit here with you today. Yeah. Where can anyone find you online, YouTube, social media, or otherwise?
Oh boy. Follow me, my YouTube channel, subscribe. It's J2O. I think it's at J2O2 because J2O is taken. So do that. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, at Johnny Odell. I average about 3 likes per post, so it's pretty popping over there. Definitely recommend. That's another weird thing. I'll get like 3 likes on a tweet that I thought was okay. And then if I do like a community note on YouTube, it's like, 2,000 likes. So it's Twitter just humbles me, it's nice. Everyone should be humbled a little bit. But yeah. Follow me on that.
Of course, you can find me at Nerdchronic across social media. You can find us at Passion Fruit for Us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that great place. You can find us here on YouTube if you're If you're finding us here on YouTube, please like and subscribe and share all the good stuff. You can subscribe to the Passion Fruit newsletter, where we have news and coverage on social media, events and coverage every day. Also, we have our Passion Fruit Discord that you can find the links below, and also our Passion Fruit Patreon, where we have these episodes up a week early, and also exclusive interviews with other creators as well. And we'll catch everyone on the next episode.